I'm going to go ahead and use the crank to push the piston all the way down. Leave it there and use the dowel to push her out. Number 2. Alright, there we go. Number 1. Well, this is number 1. You see there's some scuffing here on the side. Pretty nasty. Fairly clean there. Scuffing all the way around on this side. Top ring is stuck. Second ring is stuck, but the oil ring will move. A lot of carbon around the top. Let me show you number 3. Similar scuffing. Interesting there. Not so bad, the rest of it. Oil ring is free. Top compression ring is good. Second compression ring is stuck. Can't get it to come out. Let's go to number 2. Number 2 has a lot of sludge in here on both sides. A lot of sludge there. Similar wear marks. To the other 2. A lot of carbon buildup, the crown. Top compression ring is clear. Oil ring is good, but it's really got a lot of contamination in there, a lot of carbon. And second compression ring is stuck as well. Not doing anything. The top compression ring seems good. So there's number 2. Well, we'll try to do a little house cleaning.
I'm sure you noticed the wetness on the piston skirts. The oil was thin and sticky, like the deposits on the piston tops. Also notice how it runs on the block deck. I didn't think about it at the time, but when I pulled the dipstick, some oil dripped on the floor. I noticed later that the drips didn't bead, they soaked in, like they had low surface tension.
Well, what we can see is some of that rusty look. I don't know what it is. It's kind of a corrosion that we could see earlier. That's in number 1. Number 2 didn't look very nice at all. And number 3 has a lot of scoring there and those marks down in there from some corrosion. Well, the thing's going strange inside. It's time to take this thing apart. So we're going to begin by pulling off this front gear case cover.
Before pulling the idler gear, I confirmed that the crank, cam, and injection pump were in time. Due to the odd number of teeth on the idler gear, timing marks will only align periodically. These agreed, although they were 5 teeth off.
I got the snap ring off, and now we grab this gear, and there she came. The lifters are already out. Take our time. Let me pull back so you can see more of this. And there it is. My plan is to leave the injection pump and the camshaft and all this on the gear case, but trying to pull it forward, I didn't want to spend too much effort on it, but I found this little deal here. I think you can see it. The oil filter tube is bolted to the back of the governor housing, and it could be holding it up. It needs to come off anyway. I'm not afraid of taking the pump off, but you've got to go inside here and undo the governor. And I would just rather not do it if I don't have to. Plus, there's a connection between the end of the injection pump camshaft and the governor. So without those answers readily available, I'm going to try it again to get the front gear case off. Back to the front of the gear case. The book is not exactly clear, but it says in both places that there are 7 cap screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one that's up underneath here goes into a part of the casting that is here. It doesn't go to the block. There are no bolts visible down here. The bottom 4 are held in with the oil pan. And on the earlier engine, the oil pump is here, and there's something they call a special screw that is behind the oil pump down here. So, as easy as this is to get off and put back on, I think it's going to have to come off, and let's see if there might be number 7 underneath there, because there are some O-rings that are right here, and this dowel. So I think it's worth doing this before I start beating on it with a 2-pound hammer. But hey, this is kind of the fun of working on these things, isn't it? What kind of surprises you're gonna come up with. God, it's heavier than I thought. No special bolts. I guess it show you in the back end of it how it works. Squeezes are through there. I think maybe we ought to put a new gasket on that too. But I'm going to put it back on here so that I don't lose things. Well, I turned it up on its side so I could see if there was anything that was connecting it here at the bottom. And I'm getting some oil out. But what I found is that it's being held up by that dowel pin. So once we get a lot of that, or the excess oil cleaned up there, we can go right in here and it's going to come right off. So I don't know about the 7th bolt. I have no idea, but we're going to continue this way and see if we can leave that injection pump in place. There we are. The pump stays with the front gear case. All we need to do now is just keep stripping the block. Take off the idler bracket, oil pickup tube. Take off the oil filter mount, arrow at the top. Well, that came loose easy. Well, after noticing the corrosion in the radiator and in the block underneath the water pump, we're going to take all of these pieces out so we can get the block cleaned. And same with the oil pressure sending unit, which is a 15/16. Zach will be wanting to clean all of the block after the machining. One last accessory is going to be the oil pipe. So to get that tube out of there, I have this old 3/8 drill bit that's got a full collar around it, and I've sharpened it a few times. So I'm going to use that since I don't have a blunt punch, and we're going to just use a piece of wood, see if we can knock it loose. Doesn't want to come out. I'm going to ask the machinist if he doesn't care, we'll just leave it in there. As I've done with the other important areas, I like to see us break all of these bolts loose. So now it's time to loosen our crank caps and see if they were tight. Pretty tight. Yeah, they're firm. They vary. Make sure we're still in focus. They're all about the same amount of tightness. That's good news. They're all marked with an FW, J3, J2, J1, and a J. And the FW is toward the saw side. Here are numbers on the block of 1, 2, and J3. So this side with the oil holes here, this is the injection pump side. Okay, we've got the thrust washers in there. We'll need to get this rear seal off. Alright, we'll use our block of wood. See if we can knock the seal retainer loose. And now it's up against our mounting bolts, but I think this is enough to be able to get the rear cap out. We'll pinch these two bolts together. Wiggle and pull. There she came. And the thrust washers. Half of them. I didn't get any end play at all. So here they are. We're going to have to take the block away from the engine stand in order to get that seal housing off of there. Well, I told you, the poor man working with poor tools. We've used 2 ratchet straps, and I've kind of balanced them with this central pick. And I'm just going to pull it back far enough to get it out of the stand for now. See if I can. And I don't know how this is going to look, so instead of letting the camera run all the time, let me see what's going to happen here before I show you. Well, what I've decided is that all of these bolts are going to have to come loose. 13 millimeter. and take our chances. But we've got to do that to get these big bolts away from the oil seal. But I'm going to go slowly so I can see where we're moving. At this point, I may have a better idea. That's why you need another tractor with a loader around. How about that? Another board to put there, make her more firm. Actually, this is going to work out pretty good. Because I'll be able to just load this back in the truck and take it to the machine shop in the morning. There we go. And there it is. One little 755. 3TN's 72 crankshaft. Pretty.